Jamil, obviously you have a lot of thoughts here. So far, we've seen Anthony Blinken, the nominee for state. We're expecting Michelle Flournoy to be the nominee for defense. How do you think the picks that have an impact on our national security are rounding out?
Well, look, this is a serious group of people. These are people who have been around a long time. They've served on Capitol Hill. They've served at the Department of Defense before. They've served in the White House. These are people with great experience, and frankly, a team that looks a lot like the prior team in the Obama administration. So that's raised some questions about, will this just be Obama 2.0? I think the likely answer is no, because I think they're going to learn lessons from the mistakes of the Obama administration, the Syria red line, the mistakes on the Iran nuclear deal. And I think they're going to do better. And frankly, I think they're going to be a little more forward-leaning coming off of 4 years of a fairly forward-leaning administration.
So what are your outstanding concerns? There are still some positions that need to be filled. We're in a very unique spot, given what's happened with CISA and the controversy that is unfolding there. What are the big question marks for you?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I think, look, a few things. We still have a SecDef nominee, so it's likely to be Flournoy, although there's been talk about General Lloyd Austin, talk about Jay Johnson, so we'll see what comes of that. We also don't have a nominee for CIA director. It will be really interesting to see President-elect Biden select a Republican for one of those jobs. I don't think that's likely, but it'd be really interesting if he does that. And then, there's obviously CISA and Kris Krehbiel's old job. They put Krebs back in that job. That would be an interesting move. Who do they pick at cyber coordinator at the White House? Will it be Bruce Reed, as some have said, or somebody else? So there's a lot of still open questions, particularly as it comes to technology and national security. We'll see how it plays out. But right now, I mean, Jake Sullivan is National Security Advisor. Excellent pick. Very sharp guy, good friend, and a rock star in national security.
Speaking of Kris Krehbiel receiving death threats, including from one of the president's lawyers, no matter your politics, I assume you think that's unacceptable.
Yeah, no matter your politics, Emily, nor what you think about election fraud or anything else, there's no reason to be, sending death threats about anybody. And frankly, a former U.S. attorney should know better. It's not a smart move. It's a mistake. It should be condemned by all politicians across the aisle. I'm troubled it hasn't been.
Now, as we make this transition and what could still be a very messy transition of power, given the president still insists there has been fraud, are you concerned about the security of our country? Are you concerned about what's happening in cyberspace?
Look, I'm always concerned about what's happening in cyberspace because we're under constant attack. I believe we are in a state of low-level war with some key nation states, including China, in the cyber arena, and have been for a while. Now, that being said, look, I think the transition of power is actually going to happen. I think it's becoming clearer and clearer that the president is going to leave office on January 20th, and it's going to work out the way it's supposed to. Has there been enough time for transition? No, but this sometimes happens, like it did with Bush v. Gore. Hopefully, we don't have a problem like we did then. But I think at the end of the day, we're pretty safe as a nation, and we're pushing back on our enemies.
What about the president threatening to veto a defense bill unless it includes a provision abolishing Section 230, a defense bill that is designed to protect our national security?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think we've seen Senator Inhofe, Republican. We've seen Mitch McConnell, Leader McConnell. We've seen Nancy Pelosi. It's been clear across the aisle on both sides of the House and the Senate that they're not going to do 230 in the NDAA. And so I think the people recognize the president is upset. Frankly, the president is actually aligned with where President-elect Biden and Bruce Reed, his advisor, are, which is they all have concerns about 230. A lot of people on the Hill have concerns about 230. Whether those are well placed or not, it's almost certainly not happening in NDAA. And so the president now is going to have to see if he's going to walk back from his veto threat. I think it's likely because there's also this issue of renaming the bases that the House and Senate are going to try and pass this by a veto-proof margin to say, look, don't veto it. You're going to get overridden. I don't think the president wants that on his last few weeks in office.